It is a long time coming. I've been needing to record a video, trying to update you guys on my life, but I didn't want to upload something where my emotions were either full of anger, resentment, and rage in my situation. I always want to come back after those emotions have passed, because I know as a human and the human experience and everything we experience in this world, it causes us to go through all these emotions and try to navigate those. So when I posted my video of the things that I was going through with my little sister and the whole situation, I didn't want to come here and spill my issues while I was angry, while I was resentful, while I was sad and in darkness at the moment. Though that is a perfect time to show everybody like my vulnerability, but a lot of people can't be trusted with your vulnerability. You share certain information and they use it against you instead of like, oh, you're human. Anybody experiencing something like this would have this type of emotion or has these emotions before, Like there's a lot of things that were processing through my brain that I was just trying to grab onto, trying to understand, especially understand myself. Like, why am I feeling these feelings? Why am I feeling these emotions? I hate feeling this way. Hate is something that I despise, but that's something I felt so much these past couple months trying to navigate everything going on. Yes, I am in a situation where my adopted child, my sister, constantly either harms herself or tries to harm me and does harm me and threatens to harm me and unalive me. Sometimes you have to watch what you say on YouTube because they block certain wording out. And that's why I have to watch what I say. But that's the situation that I'm in. And it's made me very sad that I've allowed this behavior for so long instead of gotten help right when I needed it. I think for so long I was so used to being in chaos. I was so used to living my life in survival mode that it never really struck me that I could go find help. I always felt like I had to suffer through life or in any situation, whether I was parenting or anything like that. And I think that's the hardest part about this whole situation, is that when you've always had to handle everything alone, when someone comes along and offers help, you don't know what to do with it. You don't know how to take it. You don't know if you should take it or if you should trust it. I think now I understand that I don't have to be in this alone, and I don't have to struggle in this. I can ask for resources and ask for help and get the help that is needed for my little sister. And I don't have to be the one to handle this, because this behavior and this issue is above my means and above my limits. We have limits. I think that's the hardest part that I've had to understand, is that knowing my limits with someone that I love, knowing my boundaries, knowing the line that I'm not willing to go further, because it is now tearing me apart as a person and it's getting me out of my character, and it's not who I am, and I don't like who I'm becoming in this situation, because it's bringing up a bunch of my trauma that I was unaware that I still had, or I was unaware I haven't faced. Because, people usually tend to trigger certain parts of you that you haven't faced yet and that you've buried very deep. And this was one of them. When I had to experience my little sister grab a knife and come at me with it, and then like face it towards herself after coming at me with me, and then tried to take her own life and then asked me to take her life. It reminded me of a time when my mom did that to me. I'm not asking for pities or anything like that, because I'm far beyond that. This is just an understanding to understand my life and my brain and why it works this way. Watching your own mother do that in front of you as a child is very traumatic, and it's going to cause you to bury those emotions down. Now, 27 years later, when your little sister's doing it to you, I didn't know what to do. I reacted so quickly and grabbed the knife. I didn't care if I cut myself. I didn't care if anything, and just like threw it. And she kept trying to grab it out of my hand, and like hurt me with it, or herself with it. And it was a very scary situation, because in that instance, so much emotions came out of me. I didn't know how to react. I was so distraught and just so fueled with emotions that I was no longer thinking logically. I think logically all the time. This time it was too many emotions falling through. I started crying. I didn't know what to do. I just like restrained her and held her. Like, why would you do this? Why? And, I had no logical thinking. I couldn't understand her in that moment because of my emotions. And though I do understand that she has a lot going on in her brain and is unable to process certain emotions and certain things, but honestly believe that there is more going on in her brain that is chemically unbalanced for her to have these extreme emotions. And I've always wanted to understand her, like, why do you have, like, what's going on? Like, let me understand you. But honestly, I can't try to understand. I have to just allow her to be. Like, I can discipline in the way that I know best, or I can get somebody else to help me whose expertise are beyond my needs, my limits. And that's what I've been doing, trying to get her into a placement that can help her more than I can, because honestly, she's gotten to a point of like harming me. It's no longer harming herself, it's harming me and wanting to take my life, because her anger is fueled against me because I'm the safest person in her life, that she wants to take it out all on me. And I don't want to be that target. I think for so long I was that target, and so I allowed that behavior, not only from her, but from her, our other sibling. And I just don't want to be in that situation anymore, where I'm blamed for something that was never my fault. I didn't ask to be your adopted mother. I did it because I loved you. I didn't ask for our mom to give up on you. I did it. I took you in because nobody else. I was 20 years old asking my aunts and uncles and my other older siblings to help me get you guys, and if they could take you guys while I went to go pursue my career, and then I'd come back and have everything together for you guys. Nobody wanted to help. Nobody wanted to offer a helping hand in that moment. So I did what any older sister who feels obligated to take care of responsibility that is our mom's job. So I did it, not knowing how hard it was going to be, not knowing the obstacles and the trials and tribulations that was going to come in hand, not knowing how much emotions that I would bring up, but also not knowing how much it would actually heal parts of me that I tried to avoid. It made me face a lot of myself and a lot of my own inner toxic traits and unhealthy habits. Even now, I'm still facing them. Like, I am imperfect, and I would never, ever, ever sit here and be like, I'm beyond perfect. I make my own mistakes. I make mistakes every single day. So for anybody who comes on here and be like, well, I'm this perfect person and I never make mistakes and I'm here because I constantly did everything right. No. We don't get to the top by being perfect. We get to the top by trial and error and constantly messing up and constantly over and over making mistakes. But when you learn from those mistakes, you become a better person. I make mistakes on a regular, whether that be in my friendships, my relationships, with my, I don't really carry relationships with my close family members other than my little sister, because I truly believe that that environment is toxic for me and I don't want to be a part of it. Until they're willing to face themselves, I don't want them in my life. Do I love them? Of course. Can I love them from afar? Yes. You can love someone and not have to be in their life. And that is my decision. Even being in my mother's life, I love her. But I refuse to have her in my life because her presence brings me back to a person that I refuse to go back to. So, from a distance, I love you. From a distance, I wish you the best, and I never wish any harm on anybody I've ever loved. I think that's something that nobody can ever take away from me, is that, like, regardless of the anger or the fights that I've ever been in with anybody in my life, I will never wish anything bad on you guys, regardless if they wish bad on me, regardless if they wish the worst on my life. I'm just not that person, because I understand the human experience. I understand our imperfections are mirrored, and that we get in situations that are supposed to bring up these very hard truths, and we don't want to face them. And at the times, I don't want to face them either. There have been times where I've been completely wrong and I've done very hurtful things, and I'm just like, why am I reacting like this? I don't want to face this behavior. I don't want to face this negative part in myself, because we think negative is bad. We think all these negative emotions are bad, but they're not. For one person who taught me how to love me even more in my life currently, has taught me that beautifully broken doesn't mean you're unlovable. It means you've been through a lot. But why can't you love the brokenness? Why can't you love the unfitted pieces? And she reminded me a lot how that I critiqued myself. I was my worst critic. Instead of giving myself grace, I gave myself hatred. I had this despise of my mistakes, and I didn't want to face them. But now, I'll face them. Every vulnerable part. When I make mistakes, now I'm not going to shout it out to the world, because the world is a very, very angry place. And a very place where they'll project their own insecurities and their own flaws upon you. You don't have to tell everybody your flaws. You can keep that to yourself. Most of the time, a lot of people will judge you for the mistakes you make, not knowing where it came from, not knowing your history, not knowing the world you grew up in, not knowing how much you fought to restrain yourself to do this. It doesn't matter. They will always project their own feelings because they're not in your shoes. So, here's a food for thought. That doesn't mean don't tell everybody your mistakes. That means find the very few people in your life who you can trust with everything, and let them be your safe haven, your peace. Or if you're in a place where you feel like you have nobody, be your own peace. Sit with yourself. Sit in silence. Allow those negative thoughts to come up and take them in, and then say thank you. Thank you for these emotions. Thank you for these feelings, because it only means you're caring. It only means you care. If you have those feelings of regret, or just like guilty, it means you care. You're a good person to have those thoughts and feelings. If you make mistakes and then you think about it like, man, I should have done this, shouldn't have done that, you are a good person. It means you think about your own actions and how they affect others. Anyways, that is all I have to say. I know it's very vague and I'm not getting way too deep into everything that's going on. There's constant incidents. Right now, she's not with me. She's in a facility, but good morning. There's times where I will go ghost off of social media. Not because I don't want to be honest, because I have a lot going on in my own life and I need to focus on the things. Me posting videos are from videos that were made probably 3 weeks ago, 2 weeks ago, not on the same day. I love how people like to judge me on the videos that I post, because they all think they're made that day. Like, oh my goodness, go pay attention to your life. You do understand I have a full-time job, another part-time job, and I also have to deal with my kid who's also homeschooled and all the behaviors that come with. So I'm very, very, very aware of everything that's going on in my life, and I'm doing everything I can to take care of my own problems. Because when I have asked for help, it was so much judgment, so much projection of like, oh my goodness, you're an influencer, you should have it all together. I'm sorry to burst your bubble, babe, but all influencers aren't rich. We're just human beings. We just like creating. Most of us have actual jobs outside of social media. A lot of influencers I know have jobs outside of social media, because this doesn't actually pay our bills. And those are for the long-term influencers who are slowly building and don't want to build a brand based off like not being yourself, and don't want to just lie. Like I'm not a person who's just going to sit here and lie on social media. I'm going to be myself. I'm not hanging around everybody. I don't want to be everybody's friend. I do know a lot of people, and I do love a lot of people's energy around me. But that doesn't mean I want to be in every person's video. I'm good. I don't want to be in their drama either. Anyways, that's it for you guys. I gotta go back home. I gotta go clock into work because I do have a full-time job. Anyways, peace.